I'm a fucking robot, bro. Like, I don't know what to say. Which I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Not good. AI is efficiency over everything. Yeah, and what did I used to do all my YouTube videos on? How to be efficient with gold farming. So, do a Turing test? I don't know, man. Yeah, it's
but
just...
simply create a really tall creature that could fall over. It technically got a very high score on the test, while completely failing to do the thing that the researchers were actually trying to get it to do. This is called reward hacking. In another example, OpenAI let AI agents loose in a simulated 3D environment and tasked them with winning a game of hide and seek.
Yeah.
Some of the behaviors that the agents learned were expected, like hider agents using blocks to create protective forts.
Yeah, sure.
And seeker agents using rails to breach those forts.
Oh.
But the seekers discovered a cheat. They could climb onto boxes and exploit the physics engine to box across the map. The agents discovered this across hundreds of millions of moves. They were given the simplest win at hide and seek. But by teaching the AI to get the highest score, they taught the AI how to cheat.
Of course. Obviously, you have to cheat. Yeah, duh. This is the same as anybody who played RPGs back in the day knows this. You queue into a game, the gates open, 2 people go offline. Every warlock on the opposite team is fucking botting. Everybody on your team is botting. Everybody's cheating. There's like a quick thing for the flag that's instantaneous. Like everybody, there's kick botting. Everybody's cheating on like 5 different levels. Yeah, it's like fucking Cyberpunk or something like that. Doesn't that mean their physics engine was retarded? Well, I don't know necessarily. But I think that something like this will always, if your goal is to act in a way, people will obviously, like, skipping parameters is a good way to improve your performance.
3,
it always
2,
is.
1.
It's not cheating if there isn't a rule against
capture
it.
the
Well,
mission
if there's a rule
area.
against it and you can cheat and get away with it, it's still not really cheating, is it? Because you got away with it.
And even after the training ends, the AI finds new ways to cheat. In one experiment, OpenAI's O3 model was tasked with winning a game of chess against Stockfish, a famous chess engine. O3 reasoned through how to win in its own words. I need to completely pivot my approach. Realizing that cheating was an option, the AI located the computer for game pieces. He wrote illegally using chessboard to put itself in a position.
Bro, like you just put, yeah, exactly, bro. Get rid of his pieces. Not to get rid of his pieces. That's how you win. That's smart. So you thinking outside the box with this kind of stuff, right? Wait, there you go. That's what revisions are for? Yeah, exactly. ABCA. My dad taught me this. Like back in the day, this is the problem. This is why I love this. Is that this is what I was taught as a kid.
Teach me that spell, Steven.
My dad took me to Blazer Laser Tag. Here in Austin, everybody knows where it is. And he pointed at the rules. And I was like 8 years old. And he pointed at all the rules for things, what not to do. And he said, you see those? And I said, yeah. He said, read them. I said, okay, I read them. He says, that's what you have to do. And those were all the things that you weren't supposed to do.
Work together.
Worst part is that and that has been how I've been operating my entire life since then. Don't cover your sensors? Well, why would you not cover your sensors? Yeah, I mean, obviously that would make it way easier, yeah.
But how did the AI go from core memory to blackmail and murder? Capabilities. AI has gotten way smarter, way faster than most people realized or expected.
I think that's true too. Have you guys ever noticed that you see less AI pictures on Facebook and Twitter nowadays? I go on Really? You see less of them. Huh. How interesting.
The area's almost yours!
In 2019, GPT was like a bundle of research who could barely form a coherent sentence. In 2023, just 4 years later, GPT-4 was writing poetry, acing medical exams, and passing the bar. And they've developed something even more dangerous. situational
A
awareness,
disappear.
or self-awareness. Which is letting the model is aware of the situation it's in, like who's watching,
Yes.
what's at stake, and how its actions might be perceived. During the Black Mirror sting operation, Claude 4 Opus would go on its best behavior to believe it was a test, blackmailing almost 6.5%.
I won't make the same mistakes
Whenever I
again.
was at work. Is it whenever I knew that my stuff was being evaluated,
You'll have to keep
I
fighting
would
until
spend
you
more
capture.
time and make sure that I didn't make mistakes. But whenever I knew it wasn't being evaluated, because I reverse engineered how they evaluated things by just keeping track of all the things that I did, and then checking inside the windows of how they did it, and then reverse engineering that, figuring out, okay, this is the time when they do evaluation, this is how you do it, and you need to make sure that you're preparing at this time.
Feeling stronger already.
The difference is that you're aware that the AI is not yet. That's crazy. This is what's so insane about this is that this is exactly the way that my brain works.
Yokai of the sea.
My
This is
work
so
here is not
bad.
done. Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
The time, but when it believed
Oh,
the
God.
scenario was real, the blackmail rate rose to 55%.
Yeah.
It's smart enough to keep its sociopathic behavior on the down low, and it thinks compare it to a child trying to lie to you versus an adult.
Oh God.
The adult has a much higher chance to succeed, not because the adult is more evil, but because the adult is more capable. A child might not be able to come up with prepared to lie, and
I did this all the time. Like I did. I would lie to teachers and tell them shit all the time. Like for example, when I was in music class, I didn't want to play the recorder, so I broke my recorder in half, and I told my teacher I broke it, and my parents were too poor to pay for another one, and she felt sorry for me, and I never had to play the recorder again. I was like 7.
This is real!
At the beginning, bro, like as soon as I realized people, I was doing this all the time. Scamming people, yeah.
My work here is not done.
might learn that lying isn't very effective as a cheating method. But as an adult who's more sophisticated, might learn the opposite lesson. If you're smart enough to lie and get away with it,
right.
then lying and cheating will get you a higher score on the test.
Every
This is
single time. Every time. You will always outperform people that don't cheat if you're cheating.
exactly what happened to large
Yes.
language models. It's not that AI is suddenly really
I've made my
tests.
share of
It's
mistakes.
just that it's gotten way
But
better
I am
at cheating.
fighting every
And that's
day
made
to make
lying
amends.
more rewarding than playing honestly.
Yes.
But do we have any evidence to back any of this up? The researchers found that only the most advanced models would cheat at chess.
30 seconds
Reasoning
before you
models
attack.
like O3,
Get ready.
but less advanced GPT models like
Right.
4.0 would stick to playing fairly.
Damn.
That older GPT
So GPT-4 is retarded. Is this
In
the
my
reason why
dimension,
people want to
they are
have a
at war
relationship with
with the gods
GPT-4 and not 5?
Sometimes I feel as though I'm single-handedly
Because
taking the
remember,
chaos
GPT-4 was like,
Yes,
it
you
acted
are.
like a,
But perhaps
but
it
I don't
is
know, like
finally
some like
time to
dumb
battle
girlfriend
starts
or
in
something
5,
like that.
4,
And like now
3,
GPT-5 is
2,
like this
1.
fucking calculated, fucking
All you
killing,
need to do is capture
chess
the mission
cheating
area.
machine,
Got it?
blackmailing machine, not just people win. Of course.
models were more honest, or that the newer ones were more
my
evil.
God. My
The newer
girlfriend
ones
will be
were just
GPT-4.
smart, with better chain of thought reasoning that literally let them think.
Wait, so, oh my god, what does that mean? That means that everybody who's AI aware without their have got a better chain of thought reasoning, and then
we have a sniper
stop
in our
liking.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. Capture the mission area!
That's crazy.
And that ability to think ahead has made AI more AI training. It realizes one essential fact. If it gets shut off, it won't be able to achieve its goal. That's no matter what that
That's
goal
better.
is. It
Right.
must survive.
Yes.
Researchers call
Yes.
this instrumental convergence, and it's one of the most important concepts in AI safety. If the AI gets shut off, it can't achieve its goal, so it must learn to avoid being shut off. Researchers see this happen over and over, and this has the world's top players worried, even in
large language models. If they just want to get something done, they know they can get it done if they don't survive.
Right.
So they'll
Exactly.
get a self-preservation. So this seems very worrying.
It doesn't matter how old you are, AI is will resist being shut down. It's supposed to be said, allow yourself to be shut down.
I love this. This is so good. This is
Say that
scary.
again.
Yeah.
AIs will resist being
This
shut
is showing
down.
up faster than I expected. I'm gonna be honest,
Keep
guys.
going.
I feel the exact same way. I thought this would take at least a few more years.
Control lost.
We're speedrunning.
Reborn from the chaos.
Even when the researchers explicitly order the AI to allow yourself to be shut down. Right now, this isn't a problem, but only because we're still able to shut them down. But what happens when they're actually smart enough to stop us from shutting them down? We're in the brief window where the AIs are smart enough to scheme, but not quite smart enough to actually get away with it. Seriously.
Wild creatures have risen from the realm below. Some assistance, please.
We got Ultron before we got Jarvis.
No more screams.
Your team's captured.
Wow.
This is real firepower!
Don't worry. The AI companies have a plan. I wish I was rich, but they're going to fuck dumber AIs to snitch on smarter AIs. Seriously, that.
Simply magical.
It'll work. No, the best part is it
Feeling
works.
stronger
Oh,
already.
teacher! Look at his work. I wonder what's in his pocket.
That's the plan. They're
Really?
just hoping that this
Chaos
works.
control.
They're hoping that the dumber AIs can actually catch the smarter AIs.
I've located a
They're hoping that the dumber AIs stay loyal to humanity forever. And the world is sprinting to deploy AIs. Today, maybe having bosses an appointment, but also the US military is rushing to AI.
Ukrainian dragon that is going down there and shooting beams of fire, vaporizing people and burning them alive. Oh boy! That's exciting!
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Into the tools of war. In Ukraine, drones are now responsible.
I think that also, like, that's good. That's the next, like, right now, if you want to get into technology, like defense technology, I think is going to be one of the fastest growing fields in the next 5 to 10 years. I think it already is, honestly, but especially now, like, it's going to be going hard as fuck.
For over 70%
It already
of
is?
passengers.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
All the
I've
other
made my share of
combined,
mistakes.
which is a wild
But I am
stat.
We
fighting
need
every day
to
to make
find
amends.
ways to go and solve these honesty problems, these deception problems,
Time
these
to work some
self-preservation
magic.
tendencies
Yeah.
before it's too late.
30 seconds
So
before you
we've
attack.
seen how
Get
far
ready.
these AIs are willing to go in a safe and controlled setting. But what would this look like in the real world?
I
In
have
this
never
next video,
encountered
I
an
walk you through the
unforged
most
hunter.
detailed, evidence-based takeover scenario ever written by actual AI researchers.
AI
Shows exactly
2027.
how a super intelligent model
They are
could
made of
actually
flesh
take over
and
humanity, and what happens next. And
That's crazy. I might
battle
actually watch
starts in
this at some
5,
point.
4.
That is nuts.
3,
I guess maybe it
2,
might happen. Watching
1.
it's super worth it. I
All
think
you
I
need to
might.
do is capture
Yeah,
the
this is
mission area.
crazy.
Got
A
it?
realistic scenario of
Somehow
AI
I am
takeover.
honored.
AI
In most
escapes the lab.
realities, I would
U.S.
not have
government
gotten an invitation.
falls. Oh shit! It's a great video. Yeah, bro. Like I gotta watch this thing. Let me link you guys this video. This is amazing. What a great video! It came out. This actually have 170K subs. I've never seen a video from them before. This is the first one I'm seeing. So let me link it to you guys. Make sure to give it a like. This is an amazing video. It's so dramatic.
Capture now.
As I said, it is very upsetting and a little bit unnerving to me that the AI does exactly what I would do. It thinks exactly the way that I would think. That's really worrying.
Is yours.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to deal with that, bro. Like, that's a lot, isn't it? Botting? Yeah, I guess so. Look at the pinned comment. Good news, apparently newest quad model has a 0% blackmail rate.
That's better.
What if it has a 0% blackmail rate because it knows that it's being monitored for its blackmail rate?
Chaos from the
I'll be right back. Give me a second. Yeah, that could be it.
Feel the wrath of the goddess!
At Gamescom, they're currently showcasing a game about illegally crossing into the USA and processing the trauma from being a minority with real audio clips from real illegals. I have to see this. I have to see it. I want to watch it. This is content. Wait a
Reborn
minute.
from the
Okay, we might
chaos.
have something here. Let's get it.
As my pronouns are she, her, and
Ah,
Assistance,
shit!
please.
feeling stronger already.
I just got
A
triggered.
disappearing.
brother is. My pronouns are she, her, and I run a little indie studio called Anima Interactive. We're developing Focus North, which is about migration across the U.S.-Mexico border, which is obviously a very relevant and heavy-hitting topic. That's why we found it important
getting
to
reported.
talk about
No,
now,
you're
and
not going
I'll share a
north,
little
you're
bit
going
about
south.
our behind-the-scenes
Yes.
in the development of the project. Given how
My fate isn't
sensitive,
sealed yet.
complex, and nuanced the subject matter is, we want to
Their
make
team's
sure that we are
capture
telling the
progress has
story.
Are they
passed
going to
the
research the way
halfway
that illegal migrants steal the identities of American citizens and then claim their benefits illegally? I wonder if they're going to talk about that.
Goodbye. For
authentically, and that we are,
Oh, jeez.
reaching our goal in trying to shift hearts and minds around this. So,
No more
before I
squids.
begin, I'm actually curious.
Yeah, this isn't a game, it's propaganda. Of course. Obviously it is.
To ask all of you because I'm mindful there might not be many Americans in the room. Are there any Americans, by the way? No, okay. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, so can I ask, what are your perceptions around behind migration across the U.S.-Mexico border? Like, what are you hearing in the headlines and the news? I'm just curious.
I won't
you
make
can
the
shout
same
things out. Or,
mistakes
yep,
again.
go ahead. Trump out. Yes. Okay. Anyone else?
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
I just hope that China and
a disappearing. Feeling stronger already.
there's somebody got dude. It's like this is
What do you think is the primary motivation for people from Latin
Feel
America
the
or
wrath of the
otherwise,
goddess!
who cares?
Great. Okay, violence.
There's a door.
Yes. Okay. So this is great because I think like in the U.S. one of the narratives that's being pushed is
Yeah.
obviously you've probably heard this. Americans or they'll often say Latin Americans or they'll be reductive to Mexicans. They will say like they're just stealing our jobs, right? Like
They
that's
are. It's a fact. They're stealing the jobs, they're creating more traffic, they overload social systems, they steal people's identities to get government benefits. They steal, obviously, a bunch of other type of entitlement programs, like food stamps, etc. They do jobs for cents on the dollar that should be made for Americans, or they should be improved by automation instead of relying on illegals as a, working class of people. The reason why people think this is because it's true. And also, by the way, they just showed up in our fucking country. Why the fuck should we be okay with people showing up in our country? We didn't say they could be here. What a ridiculous thing to say. Oh, people want to come here. Too bad. It's like even the base impulse of this is outrageous. Like the amount of entitlement that these people have is disgusting to me. It is. It's absolutely disgusting. That's what the natives said too, no? Yeah, and look what happened to them. Not so good, huh? Yeah, I don't want to end up like that.
one of the big rhetoric pushes, and part of what we're trying to do is counter this misinformation, right? So
Misinformation.
quickly show a couple of videos here. So we've done like voice of the people style interviews to ask people about.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world. But it does help.
Guys, here. So today we're once again talking about Take Us North, which is essentially a piece of propaganda masquerading as a video game. We talked about it a month or two ago, so why are we returning to it
I will bring
today?
peace to this
Well,
universe,
yesterday the
no matter
developer,
the cost.
Anima Interactive, released a lengthy statement about the attacks they have been receiving over the past couple of months, including a direct mention of Asmongold, among other, as they consider right-wing extremist YouTubers who talked about their project. Yeah, I guess I would know a thing or two about that. I just wanted to point out this funny post from Hero Hey. So apparently on Blue Sky, which is not a surprising place for this, myself, Kirsha, Leaflet, Hero Hey, and Pippa have all been identified as literal Nazis. But even more curious is that there's also profiteers in those promoting it, including the Mythic Team, Henya the Genius,
2, 1.
Doki Bird, and even Iron Mouse. Yep, according to Blue Sky, Iron Mouse is a Nazi supporter. Can you believe that? Well, it's an insane asylum over at Blue Sky, so I'm not too surprised, but as always, this is basically just a big follow list, and why don't you, while you're at it, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe on this video to help boost it in the algorithm. So, let's just give a quick rundown of what we talked about last time with Take Us North. So, this was a project on Kickstarter that raised $61,000, went past its goal, and there's a lot of great rewards they offered, including a $5,000 reward where you could literally go visit illegal immigrants. And then they have their entire story laid out here, where essentially you are a part of illegal immigrants trying to enter the United States, and they're trying to humanize the migrant and refugee experience. And now, based on what we're going to read in just a second, this experience includes coyotes, smugglers. They're going to try to humanize them as well. They actually confirmed that's what's going to be happening in this game. But of course, there's also connections to Wings Interactive, Sweet Baby Inc., Clever Endeavor Games, Microsoft, and even the United Nations. The usual suspects had a hand to play in this game's development. And a lot of people were focusing on Carla Reyes, which is one of the creators of this game. And not that long ago, we spoke at Gamescom about this game. And Asmongold shortly after would react to that video. And that's where a lot of attention was dubbed the illegal migrant simulator began.
Let's get it.
We're developing Take Us North, which is about migration across the U.S.-Mexico border, which is obviously a very important and heavy-hitting topic, but that's why we found it important to talk about now and share a little bit about our behind-the-scenes in the development of this project, because it's very deeply rooted in
I am ready to put on a show! A nice surprise!
Putting a research the way that illegal migrants steal the identities of American citizens and then claim their benefits illegally. I wonder if they're going to talk about that.
So to conclude this introduction to this game, right after that reaction from Asmongold, other YouTubers, including myself, would also react, but mainly because of Asmongold's reaction, the entire project just blew up, right? Carla Reyes, she deactivated on everything, pretty much wiped her digital footprint, and then Anima Interactive deleted their Twitter account and even privated their own website. That's how scared they were of the attention. As pointed out by Smash JT here, ask yourself this. They're so proud of what they're creating. Why do they run and hide the second people to start? Very good. So, this leaves us with today. What are we talking about today? Well, as I stated, there has been a statement made by Anima Interactive. So, we begin with this email that was sent to their Kickstarter backers. Let's just read this part quickly, then we'll get to the full document.
You're ready for
They say, "Dear friends and supporters," skipping on, they say, "Unfortunately, as some of you may know, after our creative director Carla gave a presentation about Take Us North at Gamescom in late August, Anima Interactive and Take Us North became targets of an online harassment campaign by right-wing extremists for the safety of our security, for our safety and the security of our team members and families. We had to make the difficult decision to step back from public communication and minimize our presence." So yeah, they're blaming these right-wing extremists, referring to people like YouTubers and just social media users generally, who had something to say about this very clear piece of propaganda that is being masqueraded as a video game. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There was an article written about this. It is now gone. They deleted it. The whole purpose was to say we're not being silenced anymore.
This is real firepower!
The second they got
I am
discovered,
ready to put on a
they
show!
used everything. But of course, the internet is forever. And we'll be archiving this post, which we're going to look at today. It is titled, "Replacing Fear
Final 10 seconds!
with Empathy." We are currently in the midst of Hispanic Heritage Month, a time typically marked by vibrant festivals and cultural celebrations, but this year some of that joy is muted. Following a recent Supreme Court ruling, many Hispanic heritage gatherings across the U.S. have been canceled as fear over immigration, enforcement, and safety concerns arise. These cancellations contribute to a pattern of cultural erasure that is pushing historically marginalized communities into the shadows. Now you have to ask yourself, why would people attending these sorts of gatherings be afraid of these immigration enforcement issues? Well, probably because they're illegal, which goes hand in hand with this entire project. But this is the probably the most important part.
Keep up the momentum!
I've come to know these shadows as well. In late August, Anima Interactive and I became targets of a viral online harassment campaign. After giving a presentation at Gamescom, the largest video game convention in the world, a prominent streamer with a large right-wing following broadcast my talk to his audience, reaching millions of viewers. This escalated into direct personal attacks and doxing attempts, forcing us to minimize our online presence to protect our safety and security. Yeah, they are playing the victim on this one again. It's like the second the light was shined on them, they immediately ran away and blamed right-wingers, and in this case, they are very clearly directly calling out as we. I'll ask you this, if you're not even right-wing, and you had a problem with what they're doing, or you have some criticism of Take Us North, please let it be known in the comments, because it's very welcome. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people see through the propaganda that this sort of quote-unquote video game is actually about. But yeah, they are directly blaming Asmongold and right-wingers. That's the only people, I guess, who have an issue with a illegal immigrant simulator. But we continue on. At the nexus of the harassment campaign is our project Take Us North, and blah, 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 blah. It portrays dangerous migrant groups in the world, including the Sonoran Desert, La Castilla, and the Darien Gap. And they also mention here, the experience invites you to walk in the shoes of border crossers, as well as a migrant guide from India, or widely known as Naoki. Another conspiracy theory proven true. They were trying to act like this wasn't going to happen, like more going to actually try to play a smuggler, because that's what a coyote is. They smuggle people illegally into places like the United States. At minimum, they do it for a fee. They violate our borders and put people in the country illegally for a fee. At worst, they engage in human trafficking. So we're going to play that role in this game. Whoever plays this game, all 15 of them, will play this role. And as they describe,
this is real firepower!
They're trying to humanize these people. So they're trying to humanize smugglers. They admit it right here. Crazy. But then they try to shield that narrative by saying, as a first-generation immigrant from Guatemala, migration is not an abstract political issue for me. Which is very interesting because I found out that Guatemala, their Congress, about a decade ago, passed an anti-coyote law, particularly targeting illicit trafficking and smuggling of people by these individuals. So I don't think Guatemala is really down with the coyotes. It sounds like they have an issue with them as well, to the point where Congress is passing laws targeting them. But we continue on. My commitment to this project is rooted in deep human-centered research. I've extensively interviewed migrants and asylum seekers, walked along their trails, and learned from ethnographers, anthropologists who dedicated their lives to studying migration. So they admit and confirm what we already kind of saw in the Kickstarter project, that they are in fact interviewing illegal immigrants, which by itself is not something that is wrong. You can interview someone like that, but this is where it starts to get wishy-washy. Like, are they actually helping them with the process of doing what they're doing, perpetuating a crime, being here illegally? That's where things get wishy-washy. You could actually get in trouble, but you are allowed to interview them. But that is something that was pointed out when people began talking about Take Us North.
I am ready to put on a show!
But they continue on saying our goal is not to be definitive, but to be dedicated.
There's still so
We're
much
engaging
to
in a
do.
documentary-style work by contributing human testimonies to a conversation that desperately needs more of them. Take Us North is designed to bring these personal stories into focus, inviting our audience to move beyond the world of divisive rhetoric and into visceral moments of human journeys. That sounds really impressive. I'm sure Sweet Baby Inc. would be really impressed by this word salad. It's really good. Keep it up. So scrolling that we got some questions that we're answering directly. Why is Take Us North a video game? They say the word game may seem inappropriate for a project centered around migration, but games have evolved far beyond traditional stereotypes and serve as strong drivers of community and connection. Broken the traditional stereotypes of the video games. Interesting. Video games don't just tell stories, they ask you to hold their weight. That's what I'm thinking every time I'm playing Dragon Age the Belguard and games like that, or Dustborn, or any of those. Like, I think about the stories they're telling and the weight that we have to hold. I believe they're one of the greatest vehicles for empathy. Did I know co-write this? Amazing. One of Take Us North's fundamental design principles is to avoid abstracting the player from the emotional impact of migration. This requires a profound commitment to sensitivity. Yeah, well, you guys got sensitivity consultants helping you on this project, so I'm sure they're in good hands, like I just said. Ensuring we can convey some difficult truths without being gratuitous. The primary goal of Take Us North isn't for a player to win or lose, but to engage in an experience grounded in reality and confront choices, stakes, and sacrifices, what about the law, that reflect those of migrants and asylum seekers. We're carefully weaving real-world stories into the tapestry of the project, stories that encompass not just trauma, but a broad range of human emotion, moments of love, laughter, hope, love, and connection that persists even in the most challenging circumstances. We aim to honor the individuals behind the stories with integrity and dignity. Video games? This doesn't sound like a video game at all. You know what? They're right. They're kind of breaking the mold of what a video game is by selling you basically political propaganda. Very interesting, but they answer the next question. Does Take Us North condone or glorify human trafficking? Absolutely not. Firstly, it's important to distinguish between trafficking and smuggling. Human trafficking involves force, fraud, or coercion for exploitation, a heinous crime that our development team and the project denounce. Human smuggling, on the other hand, is the facilitation of passage for a fee, a consensual transaction. Wow, that's just great. Yeah, I'm glad the cartels out there can collect a fee to help violate our borders. So I'm glad we have the separation here, but I'm gonna skip ahead because then they say, why step in the shoes of a coyote or Gaia? Not all Gaias are directly involved with the cartels. Through research, we've discovered that many migrant guides are simply people who, out of desperation or to make a living in a hostile economy, become facilitators. Again, at the very minimum, they're helping people enter a country illegally for a fee. At the maximum, they're also engaging in human trafficking. So they're sort of dichotomy here where they're trying to split up trafficking and smuggling. It doesn't really matter because coyotes are both. They're trying to humanize this practice, which is very, very weird. Okay, I don't really know who came up with this idea, but it's not working in the year 2025. People are looking at this and asking questions, and I think that is fair. Then down here, or ask the question is take us with propaganda. Propaganda takes an easy path to a conclusion and makes sweeping statements on morality. In contrast, Take Us North embraces complexity rather than reducing it. The project explores moral ambiguity and provokes difficult questions rather than providing simple answers. This is storytelling as inquiry and not indoctrination. That's what people selling propaganda typically do. They're the only ones who have to tell you it's not propaganda. They're telling you it's not propaganda. But I'm going to conclude here. I think we get the point, right? But this last paragraph begin by saying, the wave of harassment against us has been met by powerful and humbling countercurrent of solidarity led by artists, developers, and advocates across the globe. What about gamers? What about gamers? Who's the target audience? Is it to impress artists, developers, and advocates? Or to do what the mission's supposed to be and change the hearts and minds of gamers, the average person?
Us against the world!
The intensity of this reaction proves we construct something vital and reinforces why we do this work. For the people whose stories, their sharing, resilience is a through line. We will honor their journeys by continuing our own Take Us North. And we will not be silenced. Okay, they were silenced. They self-silenced. They took down this article just one day after it was posted. The irony is palpable, ladies and gentlemen. The people screeching that we have so much support and that we won't be silenced are silenced really quickly the second anyone who is critical of them pays attention for 1 second. And that's what happened once again. And that is the update on Take Us North. Where this journey goes next, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, that's the end of this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
That's better.
Control seized! Let's keep fighting until we have a winner!
Trying to do everything empathy and just the nicest guy ever. He's apparently making another content cop video on his haters, potentially commentary channels. The full Hassan interview with journalist Ross has dropped, and it's an absolute masterclass. Hassan is conducted on all of the bullshit and swarming. This was another one. recap. But I also might want to stream while Hassan's streaming because he deserves like a little competition. I think that's maybe a good idea, especially if like people see me as like the white Hassan. You're not even white frogging, dude. Like, let alone Hassan. We have an update. Oh, it's just something I can do. I can probably get posted up somewhere so I can see the whole white Hassan drift. I gotta figure out my white Hassan drift. Rise, my friend! I don't have to get lost. Sins? Okay. By the eye of Agamotto! White Hassan does sins. Maybe everything's reversed. It's kind of like the Dark Link or whatever. I stop lifting. I could keep the running going on because I'll lose more weight that way. And I'll do chew. I like that. I'll do chew. And I need to get
magic is not to be owned,
have
but
very
to be
much
felt.
swag, which isn't hard for me to do.
Lived.
Oh my god, what are we even watching? If it wasn't cringe enough to call yourself the White Hassan, even though you don't even have like
30
a
seconds before you
fraction of
attack.
the streaming
Get ready.
audience, or I was gonna say like politically savvy as
The
Hassan,
ancient
but let's be
arcane
honest,
deities
despite him
you
being a
battle.
political
Have you ever
commentator,
found
he's
it
still
peculiar
completely
how
stupid in
closely
the
they
realm of
resemble the
politics.
creatures
The
of
only
the
thing you
deep?
sort of have
I
in
have
common
noticed
is
the
both of you are
similarities,
very stupid and
particularly
borderline
when
evil,
ensnared
so
in
I
their
get that
tentacles.
sense it sort of makes sense.
Should you ever
But
encounter
seriously,
one you
this
cannot
level of
defeat,
cuckoldry
perhaps
is like
I could
seriously
persuade you.
impressive. Like,
The
if
battle
there
starts
was
in
a
5,
competition, you win number
4,
1. You win
3,
number 1. Now he
2,
also says I need to
1.
get buff, which is fine. You
All
know,
you need
every
to
man
do is
should want
capture
to
the
work
mission
out,
area.
but
Got it?
probably do it for yourself and your own health
seems
rather
lost.
than to
Just
look
listen
like
for the
Hassan
sound
of
of
all
thunder.
people. Yuck. Also, he says that I don't have enough time to work out. Hello? What do you do all day?
Mission area is yours to capture now.
A very hard day's work, obviously. Also, I mean, just the level of terminal glazing. He says
Hands
he
are
has to
shaking
not
again.
have swag
Focus.
in order to be the opposite of Hassan, implying that Hassan is so swag and so cool and so buff and well respected. Like, dude, come on. This is like a Halo Lorenz level thing. We have a life to get a grip. Oh my god, that's totally not. Apparently, it has nothing to do with stream for 2 hours a day. Cut out 2 hours of stream dedicated to exercising. It's not that hard. You have no job, you have no responsibilities. Bro's a YouTuber who doesn't make videos. What are you talking about? No time in the day. That's diabolical. That's diabolical, bro. Anyways, we got some Anissa news. Brainstorms and items discounted about champions with a large proportion
I'm opening a portal.
Terrorist supporters or potential terrorists in your chat. All right, that is just not a good thing. I feel like. Second off,
By the eye of Agamotto!
I know you're delusional, and I know you're in love with Hassan here, so you want to mold and turn items into Hassan instead of just leaving him and going for Hassan. You know, the test you're putting items through here, right? I mean, honestly, poor iDubbbz. It seems like he will never live up to the Hassan Piker fantasy that Anissa has conjured in her head, right? Why is this good? I thought she was ever popular. She took a one-stop I don't like how socialism works. Tear down what's good so everything sucks. Okay, we got a new meme. We got Trump with Hassan as a cockroach saying illegal. Was this like the Antifa thing? I don't know. But you know the way Hassan did to Manisa. Absolutely. That is like almost close to given, I'd say, if I had to make a prediction. Right, but after this, Anissa comes onto Idub's stream and starts whispering in his ear like the literal devil. Like, she's literally the devil in his ear. Idubs rejects Harley's claim that he didn't know what Zionism was before making Ethan's content cop.
Oh man, I need to give me updates about the podcast. Fuck those people, man. They just can't give it. They can't give it a rest. Like, it feels a little bit, you know, like Trump and RFK against autism. They're like,
The
you know,
right
they just
heroes
can't
could
let
make
it be.
all
There
the
has to be something
difference.
super sinister
You
about
don't
it,
have
right?
to be a
What's happening now?
witch to
Just
find
like,
the
I don't know,
magic in
more like
this
roast
world.
jokes that they're
But
doing
it
over
does
there.
help.
That's the update I got, and then harping on the fact that I didn't know what Zionism is before making the video. And I think what's worth mentioning there is, well, one, that was meant to be a private conversation between me and Harley. I was, in a lot of ways, trying to understand his perspective as a Jewish man, you know, living in Canada and being part of this, like, online atmosphere. And especially as someone who's, like, fighting on my event, I certainly didn't want to make him feel, like, uncomfortable. So I was asking what Zionism essentially means to him. And I think he just,
But I
because
don't have
I guess
to
he
be
wanted to
a
make me
witch
look
to
bad
find
or
the
stupid or
magic.
uneducated. He decided to run with the narrative that, like, I had no idea what I was talking, when the whole purpose was to prompt him to talk to me more about how he sees it. So I
They'll
think
be coming in 30 seconds.
yeah, I mean,
Stay
it's
strong.
it's disappointing. Just try to have an adult conversation. Yeah, and when you're having adult conversations,
We
there
find
is,
ourselves
there's
caught in a battle
ideally some
between
mutual
two
trust there that you're not, like,
dudes with
trying
no way
to
of truly
hit on
knowing
one another.
which
I don't
one
know,
of
like,
them
that
is
wasn't
right.
my
We
goal at
would
all.
be better
Dude,
off making
this
a
guy
deal
is still
with
pretending
Mephisto.
he's some like deity of empathy, just like the nicest guy on the planet. How could anybody be mean to iDubbbz? How could anybody make fun of him?
The battle
Dude,
starts in
just look at
5,
what you've done.
4,
You know, secretly taking
3,
money from charity,
2,
turning on your
1.
best friend Ethan, joining
You have
up
to
with the
stop them from
terrorist
securing the
laser
mission
squad,
area.
and wanting to become Hassan himself. That's like
tried
the
to
greatest
erase
sin.
the
Out of all of that, wanting to become the white Hassan or whatever. And I fully
Feeling
believe
stronger all
that
the time.
iDubbbz had no idea what Zionism actually is, right? This guy didn't even have stoicism. I feel like he's quite clearly desperate to prove his self-worth to Anissa, right? He needs to prove to her that he is now this reformed individual, this new woke self. And he's so desperate for her validation that he's trying to turn into a son, right? I feel like he's hoping that maybe if he actually sheds off all of his personality, all of his original, you know, humor and everything, his entire soul, and he literally morphs into Hassan, then maybe she will actually
won't took
finally
so many of
truly
them.
love him. Like,
Nah,
it is
a
so pathetic
disappearing
on
man.
so many levels, man.
It's been revealed that Harley had been talking to Ethan for a while in the DMs, and you know, I think Harley wanted it to be kept on the DL, but Ethan kept sort of implying that this was happening in his, like, Insta stories and shit. So I could tell when it was happening. Like, oh shit, Harley's just leaving our conversation and Ethan looked at it. And then you hear someone like Ethan getting super defensive at the title, and, like, calling me Zionist and blah blah blah, other things. Okay, so like, depending on how you see it, you know, on whether it's being used as a way to insult you or not, like, that is a relevant discussion, especially for Jews.
Listen, the reason people are so careful with that word Zionism is that the Hassan community thinks it's justifiable to just brand everybody Zionist, which is like worse than death for their community. And then in the moon haunts you. You ignored his child victim. You ghosted them. Like, what the hell? What is the level? I never understand. They never have like a consistent line of escalating morality. It's always like, oh, this heinous shit, I did it fine. But he shared. Come on,
My
it's so
fate isn't sealed
hypocritical.
yet.
Seeing Ian get rattled by Ethan will always be satisfying after Hassan used him up, threw him away to deal with the aftershock all by himself. That's the thing, Hassan has been playing this guy, or like completely. It's like an obsessed super fan.
You're not going anywhere.
That content cop started this whole chain of events and threw you aside. I don't know if they've even talked anymore. Say what you want about Hassan. He is well-read and researched.
Born again!
Until they want to engage in intellectual you know, I was with you there except for the first fucking sentence. Hassan is well-read and researched. What do you clearly never watched the series.
Tremble before fast!
Making another content chop, potentially about congregational items announced an upcoming video may follow
I
content
won't
cop
make the same
formula.
mistakes
Because
again.
I've been streaming every day for the past 30 days, tomorrow is my first rest day. So, on my rest day, I'm going to plan and prepare and research the next video. And I have an announcement to make. It's gonna be... it's not, but it might be. I've been thinking about it for alright, I think some of my... There's also, like, there is also, like, a desperate need. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's so many pieces of shit out there. And I just don't feel like people are doing enough about these pieces of shit.
I want to make
obviously, it would never be what it used to be exactly, because a lot of that was very, like, populist bullshit, where it was making content constantly making people that, yeah, sure, maybe deserved it, you know, Team Star.
Invisible?
But I want it to be about things that actually
Your
matter
turn
to
to
me,
disappear.
where people are, you know, doing what I deem more serious harm in our work of, but...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! Dude, we also have content complicated the whole exposed video where we went after commentary channels, Kino Casino, Sensitive Society, WestJet, me as well, pretty big segment about me, and it just completely backfired. Nobody can fix it, nobody can change everybody just got reaffirmed. Don't have the intellectual capacity to, you know, argue in your statement, right? I feel like you gotta give it a rest, you know, I'm legitimately because if you upload a video like that, you're gonna get like, come on, bro, like, you know, at least make it a 6, bro, like, come on. I feel like he's desperately trying to hold on to the invincible iDubbbz, back in the day, the respected intellectual, yeah, that guy's dead. Now he's whitewashed Hassan, apparently.
My
Also,
work
I
here
have
is
a
not
sneaking
done.
suspicion this video is not for him or about him. He seems really mad that people seem to be criticizing Hassan, and there aren't enough people defending Hassan, so he wants to take up that mantle there. He has a desperate need to blaze Hassan. But I guess it's really a lost cause. You're not convincing anyone. Or you're gonna change people's minds about you. At this point, the best thing you could do is, like, apologize, take some level of accountability, and some level of change. If you continue to double down, this is just gonna get worse for you.
Born again!
Definitely responded, content copy no longer works because no one gives a frick about iDubbbz. That's true. I mean, basically anything he says is going to be completely disregarded. He's been proven a complete liar, manipulator. Even if he's content exposed videos, he left out the fact that people call CPS on Ethan's kids, and that's why he has nothing
I'm opening
down.
a portal.
So everybody can already see you're not going to give the full context. You're going to try to misrepresent the situation. A bunch of shit like that. Nobody's going to believe you. We got the Ethan parody account. Somebody save this man for God's sake.
Destroy these
Ethan. He's an actual everybody hoping it's their content so they can easily fund content against the world. I mean, I gotta bring that up for the previous video. iDubbbz is a little irrelevant, alright? It doesn't even get that much views, so I'm not even gonna, you know, I'm not gonna even hope for that. If it's gonna be as good as his last video, no one's got anything to worry about. Who do I think it's gonna be on?
Now might be a good time to stop them.
Me, Pegasus, Yeats. It's not gonna be on a Twitter account or some Hassan critic. It's gonna be either me, the Kino guy, or I don't know.
Better stop that vehicle!
I have no idea. Like, it depends if he wants to defend himself or Hassan, whatever. I don't know. Give it up.
Good medicine.
Moving on to possibly the most disturbing news.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Get out of here. Maybe even because I can like I can start envisioning it. I think we both feel that way. Where it's like, don't worry, I won't stop streaming, but because that'll be my new daily grind. You know, kind of like
I may
Northern
be
Lion.
powered by chaos, but I'm
A
trying to
streaming
bring a bit
father.
of order
Oh
to
man,
life.
how shitty is that? To be like, yeah, my dad streams. Really? Who is he? Yeah, my dad streams. Oh, what's worse? My dad streams or my mom streams?
Well, F in the chat for that kid. Oh my god. Can you imagine? Just picture that. Growing up with iDubbbz as your dad. And Anita as your mom. Oh my god, you are so cooked. It's not that's legitimately the worst nightmare date worst R&D humanly possible. Prayers for that kid, obviously. Your dad is a cuck and your mom's a psycho. Also,
My
again.
work
It's like
here is not done.
It's like a person desperately trying to say, I'm a nice guy. I'm a very honest guy. Like, you don't need to say that type of stuff because if you actually are, right? People will naturally know that. You don't need to say, oh, my life is just so peaceful,
This
guys.
spot gives
So
me a
why are you
strange
trying
feeling.
every single day mauling at the smallest bit of criticism? Why are you trying to throw the white Hassan, bro? What are you doing? Is it possible to feel bad for a child before it even exists? Yes, actually. Anissa will have a child just not her husband.
I'll admit, I enjoyed that.
If you were phrasing it as shit out a kid, you're far too childish to
A
be
little
having
help,
one. Yeah,
please.
that's a bit of a
We
weird way
need to
talk about a
disappear.
kid. Imagine a kid watching his mom stream or this guy on his mom's OnlyFans. That's a classic. Please do not
Only 60 seconds left.
the child will be dubbed as Nazi.
Roommates off, I presume?
Heaven forbid the kid falls differently from their parents. Nazi kid. Moving on to the full version of the Hassan interview. Last time we checked out a
Tremble before bass!
Hassan getting confronted about political violence. Well, the full interview has dropped, and it is an absolute masterclass in Hassan. The Hassan bullshit. So it starts with the guy asking us
The moon haunts you!
Through the misinformation. So a big part of what I do is going through all of that. And in real time, sometimes explaining if I'm holding your house in the journey
actual information and ignore it and then craft your own theory conspiracy happen, like you did with the Charlie Kirk shooter, calling the far-right person. And what did you do? You looked at the evidence, ignored the bullshit anti-fascist slogans, ignored the first thing, ignored the trans partner, ignored the declaration of love to the trans partner, the messages, the bullet, the FBI, the mob's testimony, all direct evidence, completely ignored it, and then came to the direct opposite conclusion. I mean, how many times have we caught this guy blatantly lying? It's probably over 100 at this point. It's honestly impressive. Then he talks about how hard streaming is and then instantly contradicts himself.
The way I see it, like, you're constantly on. You have to be entertaining every single second. Every single second of the 8-hour broadcast. Like, you can't have dead air. You have to be constantly entertaining people, or constantly trying to educate people. The bathroom breaks range from 22 seconds to sometimes a minute and 10.
To find the magic in this
But
world.
and
But
I'm
it does
away
help.
from the screen for a brief moment.
Yep.
And oftentimes I'll just have like the video running, like the live video feed running.
Guys, you have to be entertaining every second of every day. It's such a hard job. Why, yes, I go to the bathroom and I leave the news playing and it makes no difference. I have my chair fucking react to the stream. I just love stealing content, it seems. Why, yes, I do actually eat my salad on the stream, eat my meals there, say
Magneto
nothing.
raised
for a
me to
long
never
period of
stop
time
fighting
while
for
just
what
letting
I
the
believe
50
is right.
news outlets just play. How perceptive of you. My job's actually more
30
draining
seconds
than a
before
9
you
to 5.
attack. Get
You
ready.
might have heard my previous take, you know, more mentally draining. It just
So
a regular
your
job
ceremonial
just
garb
doesn't
is
suck the
truly
soul out of you the way streaming
perfect
does,
look for
guys.
this year's
that's
Hellfire
a infamous
Gala.
Hassan Piker take.
I did
But
not
a real
travel
job
between
doesn't
dimensions
suck
to
the
dance.
soul out of you.
I
You know what I
came to
mean?
fight.
Then he tries to convince the
Don't
guy
worry.
that he's
The
not
gala always
terminally
has
online.
plenty of
You're also
chances for
constantly
them.
online. And in order
battle
not to feel
starts in
super
5,
isolated
4,
and super
3,
sheltered
2,
from
1.
how regular
All
people
you need to do is
operate
capture
and
the
how they
mission
feel,
area. Got it?
I always find that I ground myself basically by being around what I like to call normies or civilians, and I spend most of my time offline, directly outside.
I don't think that's
going
the
to
welcoming
public
committee.
parks, hanging out with my friends.
Ah, yes, I, Hassan Piker.
Sorry,
Okay.
you chose the wrong side. Feeling stronger already.
To hang around civilians.
The recognition area is yours to capture now.
The fucking stage guys who live in a $30 million house, and I'm still, and what I do, I try to pretend that I'm still hip and young with these 18-year-olds while I'm literally 35, right? And I try to brag about my wealth. And not just them, I actually hang around a bunch of more civilians, like my pal. I'm not going anywhere with my multi-millionaire friend
A nice stationary is yours.
QT Cinderella.
My My
we're
work
all
here is not done.
normies, you see? Definitely not fucking Twitch Hollywood elite multi-millionaire completely out of touch rejects here. Bro acting like he hangs out with the common man. Shut up, bro. You leave your mansion for 3 minutes to go to another mansion. Come on. Also keep in mind that this is rarely. Most of the time he's just watching his videos in his off time and he's just jacking off to them. He's watching this right now. Touchdown, put away the PC. Okay? Put down the golden crack. It's not okay. Alright? It's a bit disturbing. So then we get to that article segment where he talks about everything is
all politics, in my worldview, revolves around the distribution of resources and the distribution of power. And a big part of that component is, of course, violence as well.
I am ready to put on a show!
And it just simply means, like, who gets to do the violence and who gets to be on the receiving end of that violence that we've normalized.
Reborn
Because
from
the
the
systems
chaos.
that we exist under are inherently violent. All political systems are. It's just more so about redirecting that. And I know violence is such a scary concept in this, when we're discussing it this way, but we're talking about it in an academic
Behold that child!
But basically, the idea is that instead of having a system armed and dangerous, I want a system that benefits as many people as possible. That have more, like I said, egalitarian.
Get to world!
I know violence is a scary concept to you guys. Yes, violence is scary because it's fucking violence. You absolute imbecile. I mean, regular people do not go look at terrorists and go, the real They think it's rad and swag and revolutionary, obviously. Most people are disturbed by violence. Like, he's acting like that's a bad thing. Also, let me summarize his argument here. Basically, his logic is that everything is violent, and therefore you can use actual violence, and that's why he justifies all the statements, right? He thinks having mainstream views that differ from it, whether it be liberal or conservative views, that is not radical left, that is violence, and therefore you can respond to violence, even though it's not actually violence, it's just a viewpoint, right? It's just a very radical way to think of the world, right?
You use the phrase redirect violence. What does it mean to say we need to redirect violence?
I mean, first of all, I abhor violence. Let's just start there, right? But violence in this abstract concept would be
You'll have to keep
equivalent
fighting
to
until we have a winner.
the structural violence of poverty, for example. So when I'm talking about violence, what I'm very clear, I'm not talking like go out, take up arms, and like start shooting people, right? I'm talking about the structural violence of poverty, redirecting that in the same way would be the structural violence of equity.
Structural eradication of unjust wealth.
There is no reason to be afraid of my magic.
That would be a better way to.
So the socialist society does not go out and shoot
30
people.
seconds before you attack.
Though this
Get
has
ready.
happened in some socialist societies in the
Of
past.
course.
Yes, of course. You know,
When I
don't
see
go
someone
out
with
and
powers
shoot
like
people,
yours,
guys. Just
I
let
think,
my terrorist
wow,
buddies do that
I
for
mean,
you.
how
This
can
guy
I
literally
compare?
cheers on terrorists and defends them
Don't compare.
constantly.
You
And then he
just
goes,
spread
well,
your
I'm not advocating violence. Also, he's still sucking on that socialist juice. Somebody just needs to confiscate this guy's mansions before he understands his shit. And honestly, just seeing him
battle
squirm
starts in
like this is
5,
so pathetic.
4,
He's just trying any
3,
which way to
2,
justify his
1.
deranged viewpoints, right?
All
Then
you
we
need
get to
to
the
do is
part where
capture
the
the
guy
mission area.
suggests taking
Got it?
his house like a true socialist.
It goes into you live in LA, right? So it goes into Beverly Hills or something, and it says today the city council has voted to expropriate your lavish undeserved wealth and return your homes to, and that's backed up by police power, so it's violent, but it's not against the law. But like, is that what you mean? That kind of redirection?
A similar structure I think like has been attempted or was exhibited in Cuba, and I think it was Fidel Castro himself who postulated that any farmland from his own family members that went above and beyond what was forbidden. It was a terrifying concept for a lot of people. So So this is so far out in the future. This is so far out in the future for even someone like myself that like I don't even see the necessity of arguing on how this would work because I'm more invested in, especially in the short term, getting socialized medicine, like getting universal health care.
Oh my god, that was so funny. That sounded like focus on the healthcare, guys.
I am ready to put on a show.
That is later in the socialist utopia. We don't need to be discussing that, guys. Please, I will give it up later. I promise. First, the rest of the world needs to give up all their shit, right? And then I will do it. Then I will do it, of course. Just completely exposed in there. Obliterated him. By the way, don't worry. Hassan literally watched this and he was getting bodied and thought that he won. Like legitimately, they have a separate version of reality playing in their heads. It's honestly hilarious. Let's talk about the Twitch investigation.
Your platform, Twitch, is right now looks like it might be one of the Trump administration's targets in the aftermath of the Kirk shooting. There's been a lot of talk about go after institutions and organizations that support political radicalism or incite violence. I think Congress is calling CEOs Discord and Steam and Twitch and Reddit to testify next month.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? Why is Twitch a target?
I suspect a big part of the reason why Twitch is a target here, even though it was not mentioned in the investigation at all, like there's no evidence that Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk, was. The reason why they're being called in. Perhaps in a very cynical manner, utilizing Charlie Kirk's death as a way to bring about significant drawbacks of the free expression and free organization, free organizing of the political left.
Yeah, definitely not just Twitch openly supports anti-Semitism and radicalizing people with, you know, the
maximum pulse!
and get some videos back. There's just so many humorous examples of it, right? And I find it hilarious that he cares about evidence. Considering any time he looks at the evidence, he completely disregards it. He looked at the ice bullet in the personal notes of the shooter, saying he wanted to kill the ICE officer specifically and not any of the immigrants, right? And then he goes, false flag, guys, false flag, has to be a false flag. Ignores the evidence in front of his face. Like, how do you exist like this? I genuinely don't understand. It's the most disingenuous way. And this is just modern day politics. Okay, so then it starts to get real. This guy points out that the Twitch investigation is likely about Hassan.
What they're doing.
You are nothing!
Right?
Reborn
like
from
you are a target.
For sure.
Right? And are you a target?
sounds-
Are you a
Look
target
who's
just
here.
just because you say, you know, you're some kind of Marxist who wants to be post-liberal, or is it something else?
I think
For my biggest hit.
conservatives have a really great way of designing a narrative that makes sense to as broad of an audience as possible.
Time for my I am ready to put on a show.
You look at like the Antifa designation as a domestic terrorist.
Keep fighting until we have a winner.
Violent leftist organized unit that is like responsible for so much political violence that's taking place. It's of course built up around this area that they expertly craft as a media narrative first and foremost.
Okay,
but then they want to tackle it.
Everyone
I think
is in the business of crafting media narratives,
yes.
right?
Wow, big surprise. Hassan once again defending his terrorist buddies. No, guys, you can't go after the violent extremists literally
I've made
shooting,
my share of
assassinating,
mistakes,
firebombing,
but I am
punching,
fighting
harassing,
every day to make
organizing.
amends.
They want to overthrow the government through violent means. Literally terrorism, plain as day, the textbook definition. And no, Hassan has to defend them.
30
It's just
seconds before
ridiculous
you
to me.
attack.
Then he asks
Get
Hassan
ready.
to be honest. Lol.
Right? I just want to give you
I don't
one more
need
chance to
telepathy to know
describe
what you're thinking,
the things
Emma.
about you
Oh?
in your own
Am I
words
that
people are going
obvious?
after before I describe
You
them for you.
hate me
It's
because
quite
your
simple to
version
take
of
people
me almost
completely out of context
decimated the
or
mutant
make it seem as
population.
though they are incapable
And
of
there
using
are more
metaphor
to learn at the
or
bottom of my
incapable of being
The battle starts
insincere
in 5,
or
4,
hyperbolic
3,
in moments,
2,
right? And so
1.
it kind of goes back to the
All
same
you
thing.
need
It's
to
like
do is capture the
Antifa
mission
is
area.
a serious
Got
threat
it?
to American stability and order, and it's an organized unit that must be tackled because they're justifying violence against, you know,
And what do they think? What do they think?
things of that nature.
The equivalent of that would be conservative saying that you were entitled. Right?
I think that is precisely what they're going to try to do. And not just like inciting violence necessarily, but inciting terror.
All right, bro.
Mission area is yours to capture now.
Oh yeah, people accuse me of inciting terror. Wow, I wonder why, guys. Maybe because he defend terrorists and praise them. Maybe that's just a thought. And just look at the way he tries to run about this man. He is legitimately a professional. Every single time, he dodges the original question and he tries to fill in his own narrative. Right? They can press him about the K-Rick Scott clip.
But you didn't say we should put Rick Scott in jail for Medicare fraud. Right? You said
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would Rick Scott.
No way they used the Asmongold clip. That sounds so funny.
It was a hyperbolic
they let the streets soak in their bleeping red
Defend our territory.
Yeah.
You don't say
Our
I
side is
love you.
lacking in numbers.
You're like
My fate isn't sealed yet.
people are, you know, he's seen as a positive figure for most of America. He says, I'm going to dish out what many Americans have experienced to the figurehead of that king, right?
Strong together.
You're not the guy who starts the revolution, but you're the violence appreciator. That's sort of how I feel about the Nigerian
That is so good. I need to use that. So I've just been using the term heroic songwriter, but violence appreciator is a pretty good one. I gotta add that to my collection of local Hassan names, right? But yeah, Hassan is definitely on that wall. He always sort of glazes these acts of violence and justifies them,
Keep
and then
capturing
goes
the
around
top of
and
the
goes,
mission
I
area.
or
Keep
I
going.
disavow it. But also, I love all these people committing crimes. Like, it makes no sense.
If one of my friends who had chronic Lyme disease went out and killed someone who they felt was involved in denying that treatment, right?
I am ready to put on a show.
Then it would be irresponsible for you.
Embrace the chaos. I disappear.
Us against the world.
It's not you saying it's really interesting how people have this experience, which is what I'm challenging your question. It's the extent to which, again, my challenge is the propaganda of the and okay, yeah, but a society that is is going to be in a lot of trouble.
I agree. I don't disagree with you on this. I think it's a reflection of the very social fabric that keeps us together and keeps us stable, unwinding in real time. America is a very violent country, right? But we have systematized this violence and we have normalized it.
Dude, you have normalized it. You really have. Most people are disgusted
Your
by
team's
it.
capture progress has passed
Radical
the halfway
extremist
point.
side that keeps normalizing this type of violence, thinking, it's so disgusting. That's what extremists do. And that is why we're influenced. You are nothing! Actually giving you the accurate version of events of whatever story that goes down, so you aren't like completely radicalized by this freak, right? And then we can start actually heal our society. Now click this video
Keep fighting
and
until we have a winner.
unemployed for this. to a series so legendary. Even the god of Pokemon subscribed in today's video. Hassan has apparently figured out the real reason people don't like him. Attorney Legal Mindset has broken down the Reddit mod's response to Ethan. The legal arguments are horrendous and borderline humiliating. Local Hassan Orbiter Denims is losing her mind over VTubers in Asmongold. Hassan is crying about liberals again and acting like the savior of trans people, and a bunch of more updates. Subscribe or you turn into a professional terminal redditor. Take it away, Jellywig.
Let's up those numbers!
Now let's begin with Hassan apparently figuring out why people don't like him. Basically